Hi guys, Happy New Year, Happy 2018. I hope that all of you are having a great start to your new year already. Today is December. This is what I do at the beginning of every year. Today is January 10th, 2018. 10 days in already, and it already feels like the year is going by too quickly. But yeah, Wednesday, I'm gonna do it again. Wednesday, January 10th, 2018, and this is my first Flosstube of the new year. So welcome to everybody who is watching. Welcome back if you are a returning viewer, a subscriber, a friend of mine. Nice to see that you have decided to spend a little bit more time with me this year. If you are a new viewer, and I know that there are quite a few of you, at least I have had quite a few new subscribers in the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure whether somebody did a shout out for me and I didn't catch it, or it's because of posts in groups, or people are doing searches for new Flosstubers because it's a new year. I don't know. Whatever the case, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah, otherwise known as Little Snips, and I'm glad you're here. I do a combination of things. I talk about stitching a lot, but I also talk about crocheting. I also talk about various other crafts that I do. Sometimes I rant, sometimes I ramble, you know, I'm pretty much a typical Flosstuber, I guess. So yeah, welcome. I'm just glad that everybody is here and watching. I hope you're enjoying yourself. I hope you have something to drink and that you're comfortable, because I have a feeling that this is going to be kind of a long one. I have a lot of things to show you because, of course, it's the beginning of the year, so there's lots of new starts. I have some updates on old things. I was planning on doing I was planning on doing the year in review tag. I didn't do it last year because I had just started recording in November. But this year I've had a full year under my belt that I can talk about and answer more of the questions than I could have last year. So I figured I would do that. That is Jessie Marie's year in review tag. And I have some administrative things to talk about. I am, as I promised in my last video, I am going to start doing magazine giveaways like Michelle Bendy does. Bendy Stitchy Michelle. Michelle Garrett is her actual name, just to get that in there, because I feel a little guilty about calling people only by their Flosstube names. And yeah, general stuff from me, except I think I'm going to turn this light off. That makes it a little dark, doesn't it? I'm trying to make it brighter without having all of the reflection in my glasses. I don't know if I can do that. It might just end up being a reflection in the glasses kind of video. I apologize if that bothers you. I'm doing my best. Anyway, let's get right to it. And then, of course, I had a brain fart. What do I want to say first? Oh, okay. So administrative things first. First and foremost, with all of the talk that's going on about Flosstube retreats and stitching retreats and that kind of thing, and it seems to be like a popular topic nowadays because a few more have cropped up, like the Flosstube retreat that's going to happen in New Jersey, like StitchCon that's going to happen in Ohio. I know that there are a couple of retreats in, I think the Midwest is having one again. There's one in Maryland, I think, again. So I know that people are thinking about and talking about and dreaming about cross-stitching retreats or stitching retreats. I am too. I live on the West Coast. As you know, I live in California, and there aren't really stitching retreats out here. We don't have stitching retreats on this side of the country, unfortunately. There is HadeCon, which happens in August this year, I think. And other than that, we don't really have anything. Stitches West, which some people may have heard of, is really a knitting and crocheting and fiber convention. It is not a stitching conference. There is something called West Coast Stitchers that I just recently heard about, and I will try to link all of this stuff in the notes down below. I'll try to remember. No promises, but I'll try. The West Coast Stitchers Retreat happens near me in Sacramento, California. It happens in May. It looks to me to be more of a needlepoint and embroidery sort of conference or convention than a cross-stitching convention, but it does say West Coast Stitchers. Now, they on their website, they specifically say that they're not going to have classes. They are having some vendors come in, but they aren't going to have classes. It's basically go for the weekend, stitch with people, talk with people, enjoy your stitching, and that's about it. There may be shows. I don't know. I don't know a lot of details about it. There's not actually a lot of detail on the website about it, but I did look at going to that one just to see what it was like, what was it about, to see what sort of things we might want to put together for our stitching retreat on the West Coast in California, however you want to classify that. The price tag on this conference is a little too dear for me for something that does not have a particular draw for me to go to, and it does not cover the cost of most of your meals. It also doesn't cover the cost of your hotel. So there is a relatively steep price tag on the convention itself, the conference itself, and then there is an additional hotel charge, and it's not something that I can rationalize spending money on just for research purposes. But if you are in California and you are interested in needlepoint or embroidery, or you have some extra money floating around after the holidays, and you're curious and you want to go, again, I will try to link the website down in the notes below, and you can let us know what you think if you go. If you are familiar with that retreat, if you've been there before, you know the people who are running it, anything like that, feel free to comment and let me know. I will gladly spread the word about the retreat. It's just not something that I think I'm going to go to. So that's number one. Number two, and I made notes, and of course, I can't see my notes, so bear with me for 1 second. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, beginning of the year. It's the beginning of the year, so a lot of us are starting new 2018 Stitchalongs. There are a lot of them. There is a link in a Facebook group, and I think it was Stitch Mania, so if I can find it again, I will link that in the notes or in the information box below as well. But there was a list put together already of all of the Stitchalongs that are happening right now, whether that is something that started new in 2018 or something that is a carryover from 2017. But there are a lot of them, and a lot of them have started up. There are some that have not started yet, but there are quite a few. So if you're interested in doing Stitchalongs, if you have the time or the interest or curiosity about what a Stitchalong is, there's plenty of stuff out there to find for you. Something for just about everybody. I did want to mention one that I didn't think got a lot of notice. It sort of felt like it cropped up out of the blue, and not a lot of people know about it. If you are familiar with modern folk embroidery, or if you are not familiar with modern folk embroidery, Jacob is a designer who, I believe he lives in the UK. I think he's from the UK. I think he's originally from the Netherlands. I think. All of that is from the top of my head memory, and it may be wrong, so please don't hold me to it. But he is a designer of modern folk embroidery. He does a lot of Quaker style samplers. He does a lot of really, if you're into Quaker style things, I think you would really like his designs. He does have a newsletter where he gives away free patterns every once in a while. He did a 12 Days of Christmas sort of thing. Ingeborg from A Stitch Too Far has talked about him and talked about some of his designs. This year he has done his first, or is doing his first Stitchalong. It's just called, no it's not. I was going to say it's just called the Modern Folk Stitchalong, but it's not. It is a 4 Seasons Quaker type sampler, and it's laid out in a very interesting way. It sort of looks like it has a figure 8 sort of setup to it. It's being stitched month by month, so of course we get a pattern every month. It is designed to be stitched in one color, as many of the Quaker style designs are, and I am having a blast with it. I signed up for it. I am going to do it. I have already started doing it. I will show you my progress on that a little bit later. But I didn't think a lot of people knew about that because I didn't see it widely spread through the stitching groups on Facebook. So it is the 4 Seasons. I think it's just called 4 Seasons, but it is a modern folk embroidery stitch-along. I will definitely link that in the information box down below. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and if you are interested in that style of stitching, please come and join and let us see what you're doing. I look forward to seeing it if you guys decide to jump in on that style. Let's see, what else? Oh, another stitch-along, although it's not really a stitch-along, it's more of a goodwill along. I don't know. I think it was just after Christmas. Just after Christmas, or maybe just before the New Year. One of the members of Stitchmania, whose name is Nick Hyde, mentioned that she had been doing something where she had been making little cross-stitched hearts on plastic canvas and then leaving them in places. Sort of like the painted rock movement. I don't know anything about that, so that's all I can tell you. It was compared to the painted rock movement. But it's sort of like a combination between that and geocaching, if you know what that is. Basically, she had been stitching little plastic hearts and leaving them in places around her city, giving them to people, tucking them into books and bookstores, that kind of thing, in order to spread a little love in the world, because 2017 was a rough year for a lot of people. She mentioned this in Stitchmania, and several of us sort of brightened up and lit up and said that that sounded like a great idea and that we might like to do it too. Katie, who is Katie the Stash Queen, she is an admin for Stitchmania. She is an admin for a couple other groups, I think. You all know Katie. She went ahead and started a group for people who are interested in making them, and we decided that we would call them heart drops because we're dropping hearts wherever we are. So this is this is an example of what they look like. This is mine. It's probably not going to focus, but you can see, it's just a little plastic canvas heart that has been stitched, and this is actually stitched with, not DMC or anything, it was stitched with the brand that Michaels uses, Loops and Threads, I think, to make friendship bracelets and things like that. So it's a very simple heart pattern. It's just to be stitched with whatever bits of thread or floss you feel like you want to stitch them with. You can stitch them in any size. You can change the shape of the heart, make it a flatter heart, make it a broader heart. You can do whatever you want. There's no rules other than if you feel like stitching a heart and you feel like handing them out, hiding them for people to find, leaving them on the top of mailboxes, on street corners, whatever you feel like doing, just to let people find little hearts throughout their world and let them know that there is still love in the world and maybe make them smile a little bit. Some of us have talked about putting pin backs on them so they can be worn as pins. Some people have talked about putting magnets on them so they can be used as refrigerator magnets. Do as you please. Put a chain on it, put a little loop on it and a chain on it, and hand them out as pendants. Make them really tiny and make them earrings. Bead them. I don't know. Just do whatever you want if you're interested in joining in with us and making little hearts, because I think it's a cool idea. I've made several. I couldn't find the sheet that had the several on them, unfortunately, or I would have shown you. So this is the only one I have to show you right now, but it's a pretty cool idea. And there is, like I said, there's a Facebook group. I will link that in the information as well, so you can come and join if you want. Oh, and I just did that, and I mentioned it before, and I'm going to say it again. Mouth noises, I'm sorry. They drive me crazy in people's videos. I am sorry for making that noise. I will do my very best not to do it again. Yeah, there's been a run on people talking about their pet peeves. That's one of my big ones, is the mouth noise thing. I've talked about it before, but yeah. If you see me, or hear me rather, do it, and I don't mention it and correct myself immediately, please feel free to comment on my videos and yell at me for doing it, because if I don't like it, I shouldn't be doing it to you guys, right? Right. The other thing I wanted to mention, many of you know of XJU Designs on Etsy, and I don't know XJU, Ju, I don't know how to pronounce it any more than most other people do. I say XJU Design. Many of you know about her. If you don't know about her and you are interested in buying cross-stitch fabric, particularly linens, and sometimes in the smaller counts, but hand-dyed linens, hand-dyed even weave, Ada, that kind of thing, you should know about her. I will link her store as well, but she is starting a Fabric of the Month Club this year. She has started a Fabric of the Month Club. She mentioned it on Instagram, so I don't know that it got a lot of attention. As with Modern Folk, I don't know that it got a lot of attention on Facebook. So, she is starting a Fabric of the Month Club. It's pretty reasonably priced. Now, bear in mind that she's in Hungary, so it might take a little bit longer than any other club you're in to get your fabric, but she's pretty quick about shipping. She's really pretty good about that. Also, she is famous for having a deal where if you buy $50 American or more in her shop at a time, you get free shipping. So free shipping from Hungary. Who can beat that? But again, not free, Fabric of the Month Club this year. I have shown you fabrics of hers. I know other people have shown you fabrics of hers. She does amazing work, and I'm impressed by her. Seriously impressed. So Stitchy Mom on Instagram had a giveaway for a subscription to her first round of the Fabric of the Month Club. She had a giveaway. She was offering a 3-month subscription to the club, and I happened to win. So if you're watching, Stitchy Mom, thank you so very much for offering. Thank you so very much for choosing me. And I am beyond excited to be a part of Jukas's Fabric of the Month Club. I have a 3-month subscription now. If I like it, which I'm sure I will, but if I like it, I will definitely be continuing my subscription. I am signed up for the Ada Club because I have discovered that I really don't hate Ada as much as I think I'm supposed to, if that makes sense. So I will be getting Ada in the bright of her colorways, and I will obviously, definitely show you what that looks like when the fabric arrives. Should be shipping relatively soon, I think, so yeah, I'm very excited. And I think that, check my phone, is all of the administrative stuff I needed to tell you this time around. Oh, no. 2 more things. One, actually there's a few things. I don't know how many things I have to tell you. How weird is that? Hashtags on Instagram. So I said that I was going to start the Stitch Your Old Stash hashtag on Instagram, only to discover that Carolyn of Off the Grid Needle Arts has a Stitch Your Stash hashtag. So I'm going to use both of them, and you are welcome to use both of them as well. If you are stitching something that is relatively new, like finishing a stitch along from last year, or a pattern that you started last year that you haven't finished, I would suggest using Stitch Your Stash, because that is a part of your stash. It is something that you already have and is ready to stash, or stitch. I'm going to use my hashtag, which I haven't created it yet. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I haven't created it yet. I'm going to use Stitch Your Old Stash for things that are old, meaning several years old, 20 years old. Not that we admit that we have 20-year-old charts, right? But things that are older than a couple of years ago, because that's what we call in the fiber community, we call that deep stash diving, and those are things that I feel like personally, like I need to get those out and stitch on them and get them finished because they've been sitting in limbo forever. But that's how I'm going to use Stitch Your Old Stash, and then I will use Stitch Your Stash for last year's patterns, maybe this year's patterns, but primarily for last year's patterns because this year's stuff is brand new. It doesn't necessarily need to be considered stash yet, right? Does that make sense? Is that just my weird logic? Probably. But yeah, that's how I'm going to use those hashtags. So just to let you know, there already is a Stitch Your Stash hashtag, which you can use however you want. My suggestions are just that, suggestions. And I'm going to take a drink, so excuse me. Sorry, I have some, like, sinus stuff going on, so I'm trying not to make disgusting noises. Right. And was there anything else? There was something else that occurred to me, and I cannot remember what it is. Oh, right. Speaking of Caroline and Off the Grid Needle Arts, you may be aware of the Friday Off the Grid party. So that is basically a virtual stitch-in, virtual stitch-along, virtual stitching party, where on Friday nights, and it's scheduled actually this week, Friday from 6 p.m. to midnight, there is going to be a virtual stitching party, which means that basically you grab your stitching, you make yourself comfortable, you stitch on whatever you want for as long as you want, and you can watch some of the off-the-grid Stitch With Me videos that have been happening on Flosstube. But I wanted to say that I am joining the off-the-grid stitch-along party. My videos, however, are not going to be traditionally stitch-along videos. I don't have the setup to really do stitch-along. I don't really have the setup to do what I'm going to do anyway, but I make it work because you don't need to see my canvas, really, or rather, you don't need to see me making cross stitches in order to finish this craft. What I'm going to do are stitch-along videos that are basically, I'm going to call them Bling With Me videos. I'm going to do diamond painting. Long story short, diamond painting. I've already made one It is my 4th diamond tube video. It is the video directly before this one if you want to take a look at it and see what I mean. But I'm going to do diamond painting as my contribution to the Off the Grid party. So my Bling With Me videos will be, I'm going to try to do them once a week. I can't promise. I tried to do Flosstube videos once a week for a while, and yeah, that didn't work. So I'm going to try to do them. I'm not sure what day I'm going to do them on. I was originally going to do them today, on Wednesday, but I don't feel like I can do a Flosstube video and then a Stitch With Me video or Bling With Me video on the same day. I feel like that's too much. So I might do them on Thursday. I'm going to try to avoid Friday because that's the big watch day. Possibly Saturday, though my husband is home on Saturday, so there's always that awkward thing. We'll figure it out. I will pick a day. It will happen. But yeah, keep an eye out for those if you're interested in diamond painting. Now, I've been talking for 20 minutes, and I have not shown you any stitching. So let's take care of that, and then we'll move on to other things. So consider that the end of my administrivia for today. So, I will show you the things that I have worked on in the last couple of weeks, worked on or started in the last couple of weeks, in no particular order. I want to disclaim at the beginning, if I have a picture of where it was before, I will show you a picture. I will insert a picture and I will try to let you see the difference between where I was and where I am. If I don't have a picture, please forgive me. I do try to remember to take pictures of all of these things, but as with everybody, there's a lot that goes on in life. There are a lot of things that come up that have to be taken care of, and I don't always remember. Or I remember halfway through stitching what I'm stitching now, and then I think, oh, I can't go back and show you what it used to look like, so then I don't take a picture, and I just figure I'll show you on the video. So, hopefully I have a lot of pictures. Hopefully you enjoy that, but if I don't have a picture, I'm truly sorry. So the first one I'm going to show you is one of my Stitchalongs that started from last year, but it's continuing into this year. It is the Bands of Variation sampler by Doreen Jones, being hosted by Lakeside Needlecraft. I think I have a picture of where I was with this one last time, so I will insert that for you here. And this is where I am now. So as you can see, if you remember, and now I want this light so you can actually see this. Blah. That makes it a little bit better, but it's gonna put glare in my glasses again, so there is no happy medium yet. I'll figure it out. One of these days I'll figure it out and this whole problem will be solved. But so here it is in its current state. And it's crooked, of course. Again, I have the bright rainbow colorway, and as you can see, if you remember last time I talked about, actually I didn't think I had this finished last time. So last time I showed you this, I think I talked about the fact that you couldn't really see the yellow in this panel, and you still can't really. I mean, you can kind of, but you can definitely see the orange that's in there. The yellow fleshed out the orange, so that is complete, and I have moved on now, as you can see, to the green, which is, for me, anyway, it's not showing up as green. It kind of looks gray, but that's my lighting, and it'll probably look better on the actual video. But that is the January block of the Bands of Variation sampler, and oh, the flat reflection. It's going to drive me crazy. That is the January band. It is supposed to be done by the end of January, and I'm happy to say that I am more or less, I finished the last band on December 31st, which is why I know you didn't see it completed. I finished it on January 1st, so I was one day past the end of the month. But I consider that a win still, since I'm basically on top of this Stitchalong, which is new for me. I'm usually way behind. So that is one of my goals for this year. I'm trying to stay on top of any Stitchalong that I start, which means I'm not starting as many as I could, and certainly not as many as I did last year. But we'll talk about that later. The next thing I'm going to show you, and I honestly don't remember whether I showed you this last time or not. I am a member of the Full Coverage Fanatics Facebook group, which was started by Ann P. For obviously full coverage projects. So I'm a member of that group, and there are several events, Stitchalongs, throughout the year to go along with that group. And the first, or one of the first of them, was the quarterly winter Stitchalong that started on December 21st. So in order to join that or to participate in that, and you can participate with anything, you can make a new start, you can have a work in progress, you can pick something up that's ancient and stitch on it, as long as it's, I believe it's 90% full coverage, maybe 95. But if you have a question about that, you can always post in the group and ask whether your project counts. And anyway, quarterly winter sale, I started, what's the name of the pattern? Oh, Story Keep White Nine-Tailed Fox by Stephanie Law. I think I have shown, I may have shown this to you before, but I will insert a picture of what this is supposed to look like when it's finished here. And this is where I am right now. And this needs to go higher because now there's a weird spotlight. But then it's going to get me in the face. Nope. Okay, we're just going to have to deal with bad lighting because I can't handle that. Okay, so this is what this looks like now. Obviously, I start my project, or tend to start my projects if I can, in the upper right-hand corner, upper left-hand corner. This is just the upper left-hand corner. It's a lot of black and navy blue, like a lot of Heaven and Earth design patterns are. But yeah, it's a story keep, so it's pretty small. Did I show you the back? No, that's the front. So it's only going to be that big. This is a piece of 25 count Lugana. So even weave, my go-to fabric for Hades. And I will also try to remember this year to tell you what the fabrics are, because I forget to do that. My Bands of Variation sampler, this one, is on 18 count Aida. It's undyed. Just simple 18 count Aida. But the Story Keep White Nine-Tailed Fox by Stephanie Law, I love her patterns. As I had said to Ann P on one of her videos, I think if I had the time, all the time in the world, and all of the resources in the world, I would stitch probably all of Stephanie's designs because I really love them. But that's the one I'm working on right now. The next thing I'm going to show you is a new start. It is a new Stitchalong. I have shown you, and I showed you the Stitchalong from this company last year. I've shown you as much as I've done of it anyway. I have been very slow on that one, and I will continue to stitch on that one throughout the year. It is part of my Year of Whips plan, but I have not gotten anywhere near close to the end of 2017's Linen and Threads Mystery Stitchalong. This year, I'm going to try, like I said, to stay on top of all of my Stitchalongs. So, I have begun the 2018 Linen and Threads Stitchalong, which is, again, a free Stitchalong from Linen and Threads. They're a company in Australia. It's a free Stitchalong. It's huge. It's a ginormous Stitchalong. So, the fact that they're giving away the pattern for free to anybody who wants it is amazing. And if you are interested at all in stitching it, you definitely should. Come join the group, come participate, come show us what you're doing. This year, I am stitching on 18 count Aida again. Last year I did one that I called, what did I call it? Oh, I'll have to try to remember. It was anyway, it's a Southwestern color inspired pattern, or I'm doing it in Southwestern style colors. Artifact. I think I called it Artifact. I think. Anyway, this year I am doing it on a burgundy, and for this reason, I'm kind of sad that the color is not showing up properly. This is much more red. Did that just... It tried to flash. Let me see if I can find something white to put up against it. Maybe? No, that's dumb. Well, let me see. If I put it on white, will it actually show up? Well, kind of. That's better. It is a burgundy red. It took me, I hand dyed this myself. It took me quite a while to get the color that I wanted because this year's Stitchalong is a medieval menagerie theme. And I wanted to do it so it would look like a tapestry, like an old tapestry. So I looked up some medieval tapestries, I looked at the colors, and there are many of them that are done on a red burgundy sort of fabric. So I decided to do that myself this year. So it's actually, it's so washed out. It's red. It's burgundy red. If you look at my Instagram, you will see eventually pictures of this fabric as a more true to life color than it's showing up here. But you can see my tiny little start on January. I am stitching it in 743, which is a golden yellow, because I wanted the golden color to really pop off of the fabric. Yeah. Some people have already finished this. Again, I am a slow stitcher generally. I am trying to catch up, so I have until the end of the month to finish this band. I don't know if I'm going to do it. It's a big pattern, but I'm going to try. And I really want that to... Oh my gosh, I need to do this again. Hang on. I really, really want that to show up the right color. It's not going to do it. It's red. Burgundy red. It's pretty. You would appreciate it if you could see the actual color. Okay, yet another new start to this year. This one I started for the full coverage fanatics group. It was also originally going to be my soulful stitching surprise pattern, but Melanie has removed the requirement for that. Melanie has said if you want to tell, you can, and I love this image so much that I would have shown it, and I don't want to not be able to show it to people throughout the year. So this was started again January 1st for the yearly by the numbers stitch along in the full coverage fanatics group. It has a tiny start on it, as they always do. You can't have a huge start usually, right? But anyway, this is Cosmica by Jenna Della Grottaglio, and I will insert a picture again of what that looks like here. And show you my tiny little start. So there you go. Upper left corner, as usual. As I said, that's where I start. This is, again, a piece of 25 count Lugana. It is a big piece. This is my first full-sized Haid, so usually I stitch minis or story keeps. This is the first one that I'm doing full-size because I feel like she deserves to be full-size. So we'll see how far I get in this year. For the challenge, we are to stitch... Pardon me, goodness, I'm going to take a drink again. For the challenge, we are to stitch 1,200 stitches a month. That's pretty easy to do on something that is solidly colored like this, with a solid start like that. This is already 800 stitches. It's pretty easy to get that pretty quickly. So there's no chance that I'm going to not make the goal in January. Further into the year, when there's more colors and more confetti, I have no idea, but we will get there when we get there. Yet another new start, and I just talked about this, so this shouldn't surprise you at all. This is the Modern Folk Embroidery Stitch Along, the Four Seasons Stitch Along. There is not an overall picture of what this is going to look like. We get monthly pictures, but I'm not going to show that to you because I kind of feel like that's giving away the pattern. So I'm not going to show you that picture, but I will show you my start. This is my start, and I think it's already pretty cute. Where does it focus? Like here? I think that's already pretty cute. This is the upper left corner, obviously, of the January block of the Stitch Along. I am stitching this on 18 count Aida, so undyed, simple 18 count Aida. And I'm using, and I don't know if you can tell if I get this really close. No, because if I get it really close, it gets grainy. But I am using a sulky blendable on this. So instead of using DMC or Anchor or anything like that, I am using the sulky, which we all talked about last year, because I actually really like them. And I actually really like the way it covers on 18 count. And I like the colors. So I had a couple colors of, I'm using Royal Navy Blue. I really like the color. I like the fact that it's slightly variegated, so this was designed to be stitched in one color, but this is going to be give me a little bit of interest in that one color. It's also interesting that Jacob is stitching his in blue as well, not using sulky, I don't think, but I kind of feel like I'm stitching what the designer intended, which is silly, but, you know, we're allowed to be silly sometimes, right? So this next project, I know I have a picture of where it was before, so I will insert a picture of where I was before here. And yes, that means I am still working on the Quotes to Live By Stitch Along from Stitchrovia last year. It was the Charity Mind Stitch Along. I did get all of the patterns finally, though I thought that I had lost the opportunity, but she did put them back in her Etsy shop, so I did get all of them, and I have been working on this recently. So this is where I am now. So, yeah. So I have started the second page of the border, started doing the blue on that giant Q, obviously, which always reminds me of a NyQuil commercial. There was Dennis Leary, who is foul-mouthed, so if you don't like profanity, do not go and look this up. Do not go and watch him. You will be offended, and you will be mad at me for telling you about him. But Dennis Leary had a bit at one point about NyQuil and how it messes you up, basically. If you take NyQuil, how it just knocks you out and messes with your mind and everything. And he makes jokes about NyQuil being spelled with a big N, little y, big effing Q. So the Q reminds me of that every time I work on it, and it cracks me up, and it makes me happy, so, you know. You don't have to remember that. If you don't like that, if that offends you, I apologize for offending you. Forget I said it. But, yeah, that's where I am on the, quotes to live by, Stitchalong. So, I still have, obviously, a lot to do on that Stitchalong. This is another one of my year of whips for 2018. This is not going to be in constant rotation. I'll talk about that later, but yeah, it will get progress. Whether it will get finished or not, I don't know, but it will get progress made on it, which is the whole point. Yet another new start. Like I said, it's the beginning of the year. This is when all the Stitchalongs, or most of the Stitchalongs, start. This is when we are all aspiring to get a lot of things done for the year and making probably, possibly, maybe, depending on who you are, certainly me, over-eager or over-enthusiastic plans about what we're going to get accomplished. So, yeah. This is yet another start. This is the Guardians of Notre Dame Stitchalong by Brittany from Ingleside Imaginarium. She did the Birthstone Dragon Stitchalong last year, and this year she has decided to go with something inspired by Notre Dame in France, and the Rose Cathedral window, and it will be 12 gargoyles. And I love gargoyles, and I really liked her design last year, even though I didn't complete it, so I had to do this one. So, this is my start on Guardians of Notre Dame. So, you will see there's really not a lot there. This is the beginning of the frame, the central frame, and I can probably post a picture of what the central frame is supposed to look like here. So this is obviously just one spoke and the beginnings of another spoke of that central motif. So I can get to the point where I can do the gargoyle. Again, I'm going to try to keep up to date on these. I'm going to try to get this finished by the end of January. This stitches up relatively quickly, but it is a pretty big border to start. I mean, it feels bigger. I think it is bigger than the dragons, so I'm a little intimidated, but I think I can do it. There are people who have finished this already, so if you do a search for the Guardians of Notre Dame on Facebook or go look at her Ingleside Imaginarium group, you will see what the first month looks like. You will also see people who have finished the whole of the border, so it's really pretty, and I'm looking forward to having it done. This is being stitched on a piece of 28 counts Lugana, I think. It's 28 count even weave. I don't remember whether it's Lugana or it's Lugana. It's not Jobalon because it's not soft enough. So, 28 count even Lugana in Ruins by Color and Cotton. And again, because of my lighting, you're probably not going to be able to tell exactly what color that is, but it's sort of a stony gray with some yellow spots on it. I thought it was pretty appropriate for a stone wall. So, that's why I used it. And I love Color and Cotton stuff, so there you go. The next one. This is something I have shown you many times, well, several times anyway. It is the paid piece that I am currently furthest along in. It is also the piece that I am working on for the 100 Days of Hade, as I talked about in my last video. This is the Shakespeare Fantasy by James C. Christensen. I will insert a picture of what it's supposed to look like again here. I will also post a picture of what it looked like last time you saw it here. And as testament to the fact that this 100 Days of Hade thing works, this is where I am now. So, I have finished, I talked about this possibly. I finished the second page, and I am, well, not closing. I won't say closing in because I still have quite a bit of work to do to finish page 3. But that is page 3 on this side, the right-hand side there. And yeah, so I'm pretty happy with the progress that I've made. Obviously, and I will say for those who have not stitched a Haid or who are starting a Haid for the first time or whatever, this stuff. So this stuff, the dark border or the background on a lot of the Heaven and Earth designs that are one color or a couple of colors and they're dark colors or they're solid colors or whatever, these stitch pretty quickly because you can just go. You only have one color to worry about. You can just go and stitch in a block or whatever pattern you want to stitch in, and it's quick to do. When you get into these sections, right, this stuff, the confetti sections, that's when you slow down. That's when you get bogged down by confetti, particularly, I guess, in minis because the colors are broken up more, or in supersize where there are more colors to use as shading. Yeah, that's where you slow down. So this, the confetti part, is what causes people to take years to do Heaven and Earth designs. Not the solid part. So if you have something that has a lot of solid color or blocks of color, don't think that it's going to necessarily take you years and years to finish it because the blocks go really fast. It's only if you have something that's heavily confettied, which, to be fair, a lot of them are. But if you have something that's heavily confettied, it's going to take you a lot more time than it is to do the solid blocks of color. But I'm very pleased with that, very pleased with my progress. We are at day 32 of the 100 days today, so I still have quite a few days left to stitch on that. I should get quite a bit more progress, I hope. I don't know if I'm going to finish the top row, but it would be nice to finish the top row, and we'll see where we go from there. Oh, okay. So another note, I said I was done with Administrivia, and this isn't really Administrivia. This is more of a fact for you to know, fact for you to learn. There is another hashtag on Instagram that's 365 days of stitching. And it's been in use for a while. I went and looked at it yesterday, and I know that there's plenty of stuff from last year on it. I just noticed it this year, so I will do my best to use that as well, because I am planning on stitching every day if I can. But yeah, 365 days of stitching, so check that out, because if you are stitching every day, as many of us are, you might want to just put your stuff up there and see how far you get too. So the next thing I'm going to show you is the Tea and Cakes Stitch Along, which was a free Stitch Along in the Lakeside Needlecraft group, another design by Doreen Jones, because we all know I love my Doreen Jones. And I will show you where I was last time you saw it. I think either last time you saw it or last time I finished a chunk of it, but I'll show you that here. And then I will show you it here, because I finished. Did I show you this? I may have showed you this already. I don't remember. Would be sucky if I already showed you this and I'm like, hey, look, a new finish, and you'd already seen it. Anyway, just in case you haven't, I'll show it to you now. If you have, you get to see it again. This is the second part of the Tea and Cake Stitch Along. This part is the second part, the Cupcake Tower. So obviously there's more to do, but this is done in almost all of the called for colorways. The border is done in Dutch Tulip by Color and Cotton. The fabric is simple, again, undyed 18 count Aida. Oh, ooh. I didn't tell you, I think I told you that the Modern Folk embroidery one, I did it again, the stupid mouth noise. I am so sorry. Now I understand why people do it, but I hate it so much. I am so sorry for doing that. I will really try not to do it again. This one. I think I told you it was on 18 count Aida. It is not. It is on 16 count Aida. Because I didn't have enough 18 count Aida and I really wanted to start it. So. And then the last one I will show you, my last stitching project for today, is something you have not seen for a while because I haven't worked on it for a while because I am a terrible slacker. It is my Death by Cross Stitch. So I will show you where I was last time you saw it, here. And I'll show you where I am now. So not a lot of progress. Like I said, I haven't touched it in forever. But I did add a few blocks on the bottom down, whoop, wrong hand, on the bottom down here. I added a few blocks there. I am I'm, I think, 2 rows away from the bottom of the page, so by now, given the fact that I started this in 2016, by now I should have finished the first page. I have not because too many things to do, too much distraction, too much magpie. Haven't finished it, but I will definitely finish the first page this year for sure. I am hoping to finish at least another page, possibly 2. I'm not going to get the whole thing done this year, I don't think, but it would be nice to have 2 pages finished on, or another 2 pages finished on this by the end of the year, the end of December. But this is where I am. Well, it'd be nice if I could hold it straight. Straight, straight, straight. This is where I am on Death by Cross Stitch. This is being stitched on a piece of 28 count even weave linen, or even weave from MCG Textiles. Yes, I know about MCG Textiles. I talked about this. It does not bother me, or it didn't bother me. Now that I keep thinking about it, it bugs me because I'm constantly trying to judge whether it's actually square or rectangle, or so I'm focusing on the fabric too much now. So I probably won't use MCG Textiles as much, if at all, in the future, just because I know now that I can get other even weaves and other fabrics and not have to worry about that. But that is where I am. I am using DMC 400 for my single color. I am doing it in a single color. I have an entire list of other long dog samplers that I would like to do. I almost managed to say it this time. But as with anything, I have a list of everything, every designer I think that I enjoy. I have huge lists of things that I want to stitch that I will possibly get to before I die. We'll see. That is all of the stitching that I have to show you, all of my projects, and I think that's quite a lot. But that is everything I have to show you for this 2-week period. Who knows how much I will have to show you in the next. Sorry if bones popping bothers you and you heard that. My fingers crack all the time. I apologize. Yeah, so let me really quickly do haul, because I don't have a lot. I go back and forth, right? I have nothing or very little, and then I have a lot, and then I have nothing, and then I have a lot. I have ordered some fabric, not fabric, well, I did buy fabric. I have ordered some threads and beads and things like that for supplies, but I am not counting those in my attempt to not buy things. I am basically trying not to buy a lot of Stitchalongs. So as you've seen, I have 3 that I am participating in this year, and I think that's going to be it, I think. And I'm trying not to buy a lot of patterns, because patterns are my downfall. I want to buy all of the patterns. I see something and I like it and I really want to buy it. And I could, it's not that big a deal, but I would really actually like to get some things finished, and when I buy things, I tend to want to start them, or I'm tempted to start them, or I'm distracted by them, and then the rest of my stuff doesn't get stitched, and I already have too many projects. Not too many. I don't have that many, okay? I don't have that many things started, but it feels to me like I need to actually make progress, so I'm trying not to buy things. So what I have today, my piece of haul today, is that I finally have a Soda Stitch pattern. Trisha from 3L Threads has become a United States distributor for Soda Stitch patterns, which is great because the only places that I've been able to find Soda Stitch patterns require PayPal, and you know my woes with PayPal. So Trisha sells hers in her Etsy shop. You can also buy them from her directly, but she then invoices you through PayPal, which again doesn't work for me. But she does put leftovers, and you can order through her on her Etsy shop, and that's how I did. She put up, and this is one of the things that I was going to order originally and then discovered that I couldn't use PayPal. This is the Dala horse pattern. I'm going to try to... Like I said, my camera is a little wacky in that the closer I get, the less it focuses. But, yeah. So the Dala horses. So the pattern has all of the horses on the top. So that band across the top. And then it also does supply you with... the upright... Ooh, where is it? This one. The upright horses in 4, like this. And it supplies you also with the upside down horses in 4. I assume that you can do any of... Well, you can. I know you can. You could do any of the 4 horses, any of the colors in these patterns. It also supplies you with some extra words. So if you don't want to stitch the words, the color words underneath the band, which I will not be stitching, it does offer you some other words to stitch in there as well. So I'm pretty excited that that is my first Soda Stitch pattern. There are many more, again, of those that I would like, but I'm being good, trying to be good anyway. And that is it. So, let me take a drink again. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the year in review tag, Jessie Marie's year in review tag. Yeah, I didn't do this in 2017 again, or I didn't do this last year because I had just started making Flosstube videos in November, and I didn't feel like I had enough information, and I had just gotten back into cross-stitching in November of 2016 as well. I cross-stitched, as I have said before, I started cross-stitching when I was a kid, like many of us did. I have started and stopped on and off for my entire life, and then I took a break, and I didn't stitch anything for, probably 10 years at least, maybe more than that, until November of 2016 when I got back into it. So, I didn't feel like I had enough information, I didn't have enough to offer you in 2017, starting in January 2017, to actually do the year in review tag. I have been doing this for a full year now. I have been stitching like crazy and looking at everything and interacting with people and seeing what's out there and what's happening in the cross-stitch community. And so I feel like I can actually do the tag this year. Like I said, that means that this is going to be a long video. So if you are done, if you are not interested in my year in review tag, if you've seen all my projects, you've heard all of my rambling administrivia, and you're ready to go, you are welcome to do so. Thank you for sticking around this long. Thank you for watching my video. Feel free to like my video. Feel free to subscribe if you're interested. Please leave a comment if you have anything to say or any questions to ask, and I will do my best to respond. I think I'm getting better at that, so you shouldn't feel like I'm ignoring you. Hopefully you don't feel like I'm ignoring you anyway. But from here on in, I'm going to do a tag, and then at the end, and this might feel, well, anyway, at the end I'm going to do three magazine giveaways. Three? Is it three? Or is it four? Anyway, I'm going to give away some magazine stuff, like Michelle Garrett does. Michelle Bendy Stitchy Michelle. You all know her. I don't have to tell you who she is. But I'm going to do magazine giveaways at the end of the video, so if you want to stick around to see what I'm offering and see if you're interested in those, feel free. You can always fast forward through the tag, and as people have suggested, you can also watch me at fast forward, 1 1/4 speed or 1 1/2 speed or whatever. I don't think I talk too quickly that you wouldn't be able to understand me, and it might get you through the video faster. So, I'm going to... I had my glasses adjusted, and so I'm in this weird place where I can read and can't read, so... Right. Question number 1 on the year in review tag is about your favorite and least favorite things, or the section is about favorite and least favorite things. So question number 1 is your favorite and least favorite work in progress. So my favorite work in progress right now that began in 2017 is the Spooky Halloween Stitchalong, and I will insert a picture of where I am on that anyway here. It's another Doreen Jones pattern. It's another, like I said, we all know I love Doreen Jones. So this was my favorite stitch-along for 2017, I think. It's not finished, obviously. I will continue to work on it as it comes up in my rotation or when I feel like it, or maybe on the 13th. I don't know. But I will continue working on it until it's finished, because I definitely want that done. I know that it says 2017 on it. I know I stitched the number on it already, or the year on it already, but it doesn't bother me. I started it in 2017. That's what counts. My least favorite work in progress. Technically, that's not I guess it's not a work in progress anymore, so I can't use that one. I'm going to have to think of a different one real quick then. I was going to say my tablecloth, my mom's tablecloth that I worked on last year that you guys watched me complain about, but obviously that's finished, so it's not really a work in progress. So what is my least favorite work in progress right now? Maybe my fantasy stitch-along, the Lakeside Needlecraft fantasy stitch-along from last year. Not because I don't like it. I do like it. It's a lot of work, and I'm completely behind. I mean, I finished 2 out of the 12 patterns, in the year. Now granted, I started it late, which is an excuse, but I started it late. But I have had an entire year to work on that, and I've only finished 2. I haven't done the border, and it's just, it feels like it's a lot of work, so I don't feel like picking it up often. But to be fair, none of the Stitchalongs that I started last year make me really want to pick them up and work on them, which is why I'm not doing as many this year. But yeah, I think probably the Fantasy Stitchalong, which is sad, but true. My favorite... Okay, questions 2 and 3 are your favorite and least favorite finish, and FFO. Well, I only had one finish last year. I had the tablecloth, my mother's tablecloth, which I will insert a picture of here. So that counts as my favorite and least favorite finished object and fully finished object because it's the only one. I despised working on that. I had to make... Oh, I did it again. Gosh darn it. I had to make sure that I worked on it only when I was in the right mindset. I had to make sure that I wasn't hating on it while I was stitching on it because I didn't want to put hateful energy into it and then send it to my mother, whom I adore. So I did finish it, obviously. The problem with it was repetitive stitching. I don't want to stitch the same thing over and over again. I just don't. I don't know that I will ever stitch a pattern more than once. I don't tend to read things more than, well, except for my favorite books, I don't tend to read things more than once. So, yeah, having to stitch that pattern over and over again just about killed me. My favorite, number 4 was my favorite and least favorite new start of 2017. My favorite start, I think, was the Linen and Threads Stitchalong, the mystery Stitchalong that I just talked about with the artifact fabric. And I will insert a picture of what that looks like here. Just in case you guys don't remember. Yeah, I definitely liked starting that. I liked the idea of it. I like the patterns that are in the sampler, and I'm looking forward to finishing that. My least favorite start was probably the Fabulous Women in History Stitchalong, mostly because I have had to restart that twice, I think. Yeah, the first time I cut the fabric the wrong size, and so then I cut another piece of fabric the right size, but discovered that 32 count MCG Textiles linen is definitely not for me. I could not stitch on that to save my life. I thought my stitching looked terrible. I kept missing stitches, and it was awful. It was a terrible thing. So it sort of tainted my whole opinion about the Stitchalong in general. I have continued to work on it. I have January finished. I have 2 women done. Obviously, I'm way behind on that one as well, but I do like them, and I do intend to finish it. It's just, it sort of made me dislike the entire Stitchalong because I had to start again so many times. My favorite and least favorite tool. Did I bring it in here? I meant to, and I set it aside, and I didn't bring it. But I showed it to you last time. My favorite tool of 2017 is the Morgan lap stand that I showed you in my last video, the plastic double-sided hoop. That thing is amazing. I need to buy the other 2 sizes just to have them because they're amazing, and I will never stitch on anything else again, I don't think. I am definitely a hoop person, not a scroll frame, not a scroll bar person, not a Q-snap person. I've tried them all. I've tried stitching in hand, and I still do sometimes, but the Morgan lap stand is definitely my go-to from now until something better comes out. I don't have a least favorite tool. My favorite and least favorite technique. My favorite technique of 2017 that I learned or figured out how to do in 2017 is probably 2-handed stitching. I have always been a one-handed stitcher, you know, flipping from the top to the bottom of the hoop. In 2017, I finally figured out how to do 2-handed stitching, and I figured out how to do that before the Morgan lap stand, but the Morgan lap stand definitely helps that, and I love it. I honestly think it doesn't necessarily make stitching faster for me, but it makes it more comfortable, and it makes stitching more fun. So I like that. That's my favorite technique. My least favorite technique is parking. I did try to park I can't do it, guys. My brain, for whatever reason, my brain will not let me do it. I can do extreme cross country. I can, you know, confetti pick and stitch, but I cannot park to save my life. It annoys me. It drives me crazy to have the threads hanging down the front of the thing, to try to figure out which thread is actually which thread, how to mark the chart. No, too complicated for me, so parking I will not do. Let's see, my favorite and least favorite material. My favorite material is any kind of even weave. Jobalon, Lugana, I don't mind. Like I said, I don't mind MCG Textiles even weave. Yeah, any kind of even weave. I don't dislike Aida. I stitched on Aida for a very long time, like many of us do. And I still stitch on Aida, obviously, since I've shown you a bunch of projects that are being done on Aida. But my favorite is even weave. My least favorite is slubby linen. Like, linen in general is not my favorite, just because of the unpredictability of whether it's going to be even. Go figure. But anything that has really noticeable, really large slubs in it, I don't like it at all. I don't want to stitch on it. I don't want my stitches to be different sizes. I don't want to have to stab through a slub to get the stitch to be the right size. And the MCG textiles, or linen, obviously 32 count, whatever, definitely my least favorite. But linen in general, don't throw things at me, but it's not my favorite. Let's see. My favorite pattern release. There are so many that got released last year that I really love. It's hard to pick them out. I think Miss Cherry Blossom by Mirabilia. Dragons, I did it again. Jeez, I'm going to stop pointing it out. No, I'm not going to stop pointing it out because I said I would. I apologize. And I am going to apologize for those. I know there's a thing about not apologizing for things that we do on videos. That needs to be apologized for. Dragons of Sumatra by Ink Circles. I love that pattern. I love Mother Maya too, but Mother Maya came out earlier, I believe. But Dragons of Sumatra was a Nashville market release for last year, and I love that pattern. What else? What did I write? Oh, the Halloween Quaker. Halloween Quaker by Lala Studio. None of these, and I will point out that none of the patterns that I just mentioned, I don't own any of them. I didn't buy any of them. They are on my list to be bought. I can't go and buy them now because, like I said, I'm trying to be good. But those are probably my three of my favorite, not that those are my only favorites. And I don't have a least favorite pattern because if I didn't like it, I don't remember it. So, okay, so the next section is how many of whatever. So, how many works in progress did I have at the start of 2017? I had 5. I went and counted through my Xstitch app, and I had 5 at the beginning of 2017. At the end of 2017, I had 32. So that tells you what Stitch Mania and Flosstube and hanging out with people who cross-stitch a lot will do to you. Obviously, that is not as many as other people have. Kate and Katie, for instance, who have hundreds of projects started. Obviously, I'm not there. I'm not even at 50, though I could probably be there pretty easily. But 32 last year seems like a lot, and I have added some this year, so I may hit 50 by the end of the year. I'm going to try to stay, not to go above that, because that's like, that seems like, wow, that's a lot of stuff to try to do all at the same time. But even for my magpie brain. But we'll see. I'm not gonna kill myself if I get over 50, but I'm going to try to stay under. Or at 50. How many starts in 2017? I had 27 starts. 35 from 32 is 27. I started 27 things last year. How many finishes? 1. How many fully finished objects? You guessed it, 1. How many temporary unfinished objects, UFOs? I have 1 from 2017, and that is the Dragon Knot. Which is another Stephanie Law pattern. It is the one that I started for my husband. I had to restart for my husband, and then discovered or had a conversation with him where he told me in no uncertain terms that he does not like Haid patterns. He does not like the style that Haid projects turn into, and I decided I'm not going to stitch it then. If he doesn't like it, I will not spend all of that time working on it. So that is, in my notes I put indefinite hiatus. It is I could still do it again. Obviously, I still have the pattern. I do like it myself, but it's definitely way down on the list of things that I will ever stitch. It will be if I get through everything else that I have, basically, or come to a point where I don't want to stitch anything else I have, but I still have that, I will pick that back up again. So I don't have any permanent unfinished objects. I'm not counting that as a give up or a complete give up, but it is definitely not going to be touched for a long time. How many full coverage pages did you finish in 2017? I finished 2. I finished 2 pages on my Shakespeare Fantasy. I am hoping to finish on various projects. I'm hoping to finish around 10 pages this year, divided between them. We'll see how that goes. If I get more than that, go me. If I get less than that, that's okay too. But that's my goal for this year, among other things I'm stitching. So that might seem ridiculous, but that's my plan. Let's see. My first start for 2017 was the Birthstone Dragon Stitchalong by Ingleside Imaginarium, which I have not completed, but you guys have seen it. My last start was the white nine-tailed fox that I just showed you, the story keep that I started for the winter Stitchalong and full coverage fanatics. And my one and only finish, again, was my mother's tablecloth. So the next section is all about regrets. What do I regret purchasing in 2017? I think I regret purchasing all of the Stitchalongs at the beginning of the year. I thought that I was going to be able to keep up with them somehow. I thought that I would love all of them somehow. I mean, I got caught up in Stitchalong fever, I think. I know better now, but yeah, I think I regret purchasing them, not because I hate them, not because I don't like them, or that I won't try to eventually finish them, but just because I sort of got caught up in, there's a question later about FOMO. I got caught up in thinking I was going to miss out on something really cool if I didn't buy them, and yeah, they've all fallen by the wayside. What do I regret starting? Nothing. What do I regret stopping? I don't really regret stopping. I mean, the dragon knot, like I said, I do like that pattern, but I don't really regret it because it means I got time back to do something that my husband will hopefully like, and that I'm not wasting my time on something that he's just going to look at and go, when it took me hours and hours and hours to work on. What do I regret not participating in? I don't regret not participating in anything. I think I regret participating, again, with the Stitchalongs. I tried to do too much, and I think that's my biggest regret for 2017. Let's see. Okay, so the next section is things that are new to you. So my new tool, a tool that was new to me in 2017 was the Snag Nabbit, which I think I first saw on Danielle Stitcherista's channel. Maybe. It went around for a while. Several of us were talking about it for a while. So, but that was new to me for 2017. Also my lap stand, the Morgan lap stand. A new technique, two-handed stitching, as I said before. Oh, also Vanna's technique of stitching, not twisting or not turning the needle when you stitch, but rather stitching with the eye of the needle. I have tried that on several of my projects, and it's not bad. I don't know that I love it. I don't know that I notice a huge difference in how my thread lays when I do it, but I did try it. I do like it. But that was new to me in 2017. Designer. New designer to me. There's so many. I'm going to have to try to read my handwriting. There's so many that were new to me, though. Glendon Place, Lila's Studio, Lindy Stitches, Bent Creek, Drawn Thread, Carolyn Manning, Primitive Hair. There were a lot of them. There seem to be new designers that come out all the time. Or if they're not new designers, there's somebody will come out with a design that catches my eye, and all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, look at this backlog of patterns that I never saw before. So, yeah, there were a lot of them. New fabric. What did I write? Oh, I wrote, it expanded my knowledge of non-box store fabric. So fabric you can get in places other than Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby or whatever. So, even weaves. And hang on, my phone is ringing, so 1 second. Right, I'm back. So, we were on fabrics. New to me fabrics. So, just non-box store fabrics. Uh, oh, thread. What new threads? The first one was the Sulky Blendables, which I talked about with my Modern Folk Stitchalong. That was new to me in 2017, and I'm glad that it was brought up. I'm glad that Letitia mentioned them because I got to try them out and enjoy them. And over-dyed flosses, like Color and Cotton, like, who else did I write? Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm trying to read my handwriting. But yeah, things like Color and Cotton, Weeks Dye Works, that kind of thing. Color and Cotton is definitely my favorite over-dyed floss. Oh, vendors. Favorite, or new to you vendors. XJU Design. Her fabric is amazing. Go check her out if you haven't. Color and Cotton for her floss club, or yeah, her floss club, but her floss in general. Her fabric, she's amazing. Go and check her out as well. Terminology, I don't know that I had any new to me terminology in 2017. Nothing sticks out, at least. And I don't remember what the last question was. Oh, Flosstubers. New to me Flosstubers. So many. No offense to anybody, but I'm not even going to try to name the people that I discovered in 2017 because it was my first full year of Flosstube, and that means I discovered a lot of people and watched a lot of Flosstube. And I'm not going to name people because I don't want to leave people out. I don't want people to be hurt that I didn't mention them. So all of you, that's my answer. You are all new to me in 2017, and I love all of you. Okay, what did you learn in 2017? And I said that I learned that my hopes and dreams sort of outstripped my ability to make them come true. I wanted to do a lot more than I did. I sort of overbought, sort of your stomach is bigger, or your mouth is bigger than your stomach. Your eyes are bigger than your stomach. It's eyes, right? Eyes is the phrase. Your eyes are bigger than your stomach, that you want to eat everything, but you can't fit it all in there. I wanted to stitch everything. I wanted to participate in everything. And there's just not enough time. Not in my life, anyway. Not with my magpie-ness. Not enough time to do it all, not enough time and focus to sit and stitch everything. So yeah, I learned that about myself, that I need to be more realistic about what I can do and what I want to do. Let's see. What did I teach? What did I teach someone in 2017? I don't know that I specifically taught anybody anything. I mean, I didn't set out to teach anybody anything. Maybe diamond painting, or what diamond painting is. I know I'm not the only one who did that. Caitlin White is the one that I remember off the top of my head who introduced diamond painting to me. But yeah, that's probably the one thing that I mostly contributed that other people learned something from, was about diamond painting. I know that there are several people in the Flosstube community who say that they went out and grabbed a diamond painting or started diamond painting because they saw me doing it, saw me talking about it. So that's my contribution. If you did that and you're now addicted, or you did that and you hated it, you're welcome, and I'm sorry, both. Did I make friends with, make friends with anybody that you only knew via social media? Did you make friends with anybody you only knew via social media? I did. I didn't know them well via social media, but I did make friends. I now have a stitching group that I go and hang out with once a month, and sometimes more than that. Janet and Lexa and Shauna and Shay and Lori and Chantal and Kate and Amy, and there are a whole bunch of people, and I hope I didn't forget anybody. I hope if I haven't met you yet, that I get a chance to meet you in 2018. Julie, Bunny Mom Julie from Instagram. Hi, Julie. So I did meet people. I'm hoping to meet more people. I would like to meet more people. Definitely, in 2019. And that, I didn't say that. I talked about retreats and I didn't say that. But anyway, look for our retreat in 2019. There you go. There's a little Easter egg for anybody who's paying attention. But yeah, I hope to meet more people. I would like to meet some of the people, or wish that I could meet some of the people that are more long distance. I'm very disappointed still that I live on the wrong coast to go to the Flosstube retreat in New Jersey, because Ingeborg is going to be there and I would really like to meet her. I really want to meet Glee. There are a lot of you that I really want to meet. I really want to meet Danielle, and I really want to meet Michelle, and I really want, I kind of feel like I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have named names because I don't want people to feel like I don't want to meet you. I want to meet everybody, but the reality is I'm probably not going to get to meet everybody, at least not this year. So yes, I would like to meet more people. I did meet people. I hope to continue meeting people. There you go. Are you happy with your accomplishments in 2017? No. I only finished one thing. I did not get as much stitch as I wanted to, so no, I'm not happy with that. I would definitely like to stitch more in 2018, and I'm planning on stitching more in 2018. Which ties into the next question, what are your goals? My goals are to stitch more in 2018, go figure. I am also trying to not be quite as hard on myself about not meeting my goals in 2018. I got really disappointed with myself, you guys. Really disappointed and really discouraged about the fact that I had overestimated my ability, and therefore I felt like I was failing a lot, and I don't, in a hobby that's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be relaxing, it's supposed to reduce stress, I was piling stress on myself for not doing what I was supposed to do, right? So my goals are to actually produce things, to be productive this year, but to also cut myself some slack. If I don't keep up on all of the Stitchalongs, if I don't get done exactly the amount that I want to get done this year, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to kill me. No one is going to be hurt if I don't do everything that I have in my brain to do. So I need to be okay with not getting there. Not that I won't try. I definitely need to try harder than I tried last year. But I need to be okay with not getting there because this is fun. It's the journey. It's the process. You know, we talk about a lot about whether you're a process or a product stitcher, process or product spinner too. Yeah, it's the process for me. I enjoy the process. The product is nice, but it's the process that I really like. What else? Has my organization changed? Yes. Excuse me. I have the double-sided floss boxes now, so I am keeping all of my floss in a single, well, I have two of them, but I am keeping them in single boxes instead of having a separate box for every project because I found that too disorganized. I also have a whip tracker this year. I am also going to try to be better about just keeping track of things. My whip tracker, about my rotation, my plan is to, all of my monthly stitch-alongs I am going to try to touch as often as possible until they're finished for the month, and then after that I will touch other things. I have one project that I am picking up from my Year of Whips list that I will work on for several days, about a week, and then I put it down and I will move on to the one that has been touched the longest amount of time away, and I will cycle through them that way. So I get progress on everything, but yeah, I'll get progress on everything and try to stitch on everything, but I'm mostly going to focus on my stitch-alongs so I don't feel like I'm falling by the wayside again. What? My favorite stitch-along from last year was the Spooky Halloween. The Spooky Halloween stitch-along by Doreen Jones. Second would be the Bands of Variation, again by Doreen Jones. What have I said? We all know I love my Doreen Jones. So yes, Spooky Halloween I am definitely going to try to finish at some point this year. Bands of Variation I am on top of. Yay! And I'm going to try to stay on top of that. Yeah, I talked about that. I did it again. Sorry, guys. Any trends that I did not participate in, or any trends that I was not interested in for 2017. I am not a prim stitcher. I know I said I like the primitive hair, and I do like her designs, but I am not a prim stitcher. So all of the stitching on Little House Needleworks and Little House Needleworks and Plum Street Samplers and all of that kind of thing, they're not for me. I think they're cute. I admire the fact that you guys are doing them and that you enjoy them, and I love seeing your finishes and all of, especially things like, when Priscilla and Chelsea do their amazing finishes and door-sized finishes and things like that. I think that's amazing, and I think it's beautiful, and I applaud the heck out of you for doing it. It's just not my style. Now, my tastes have changed. I did not used to, or I knew about them, but I did not used to have any sort of interest in Quaker style things. And now I love, I love Quaker things. I would stitch Quaker all the time, I think, although I'd probably get bored. But I love Quaker style things. I will definitely be picking up some more Quaker style things this year. I love the Bent Creek drawn thread stuff, like the rows and those kind of things. I don't know what it is about them, but I think they're adorable, and I want to stitch all of them. So my tastes have definitely changed. I am still a fairy girl. I'm still an angel girl. I'm still Joan Elliott and Teresa Wentzler and Doreen Jones. I'm still, you know, Leslie Tier. I'm still all of that. That still applies. I don't think I've fallen out of love with any of that, but I have definitely learned to love a whole new sort of stitching. What am I most looking forward to finish in 2017? I said Death by Cross Stitch, or 2018. I said Death by Cross Stitch, and that's not going to happen in 2018, I don't think. If it does, oh my gosh, I will be thrilled. I will be delighted and amazed, and I will pat myself on the back so hard I'll break my arm. I would like to finish it in 2018. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would definitely like to make progress on it. I don't remember some of these questions. I just wrote down the answers, so. What's the Stitchalong I'm most interested in participating in 2018? I want to play along with all of the Stitchalongs in the full coverage fanatics group because I have a number of full coverage patterns. I want more full coverage patterns, and yeah, big ass projects, BAPs, are my thing. I am not good at little projects. I need to stitch Christmas ornaments this year. I will try to do some smaller things, but small projects are just, they don't appeal to me all of the time. Most of the time. Most of the time, the things that appeal to me are the big things. So, but yeah, definitely participating in the full coverage fanatics Stitchalongs. Like I said, I don't remember the questions, so I apologize for not telling you what they are. The bottom line is, for the rest of the questions, the bottom line is I need to just keep stitching. I need to just keep making progress and moving forward, and that is my plan for 2018, and I'm hoping that 2018 is an amazing year for all of us. I'm not going to talk about things outside of stitching because I did it again. I know, I am sorry. I'm not going to talk about things outside of stitching for 2018 because that gets into things I don't need to talk about in this video, especially because this video is already an hour and a half long. So let me really quickly go through these magazine patterns and then I will let you go. And hopefully my videos, the rest of my videos for 2018 are not all going to be an hour and a half long because I know that I will lose people if I do that. My videos have been tending toward an hour, close to an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, something like that. I feel like those are more reasonable. This is just because lots of starts, lots of stitch-alongs, or beginning of the year stuff, year in review stuff. I hope you will put up with the fact that this is extra long for me. So the first pattern that I'm going to give away, and let me just steal Michelle's disclaimers. I am going to send you magazine patterns. I am going to put these in an envelope and I will send them to you. I will send them anywhere, so don't worry about being outside of the United States. If you are and you want something, you can comment and let me know that you do. I will send it to you. For those of you who won my giveaway, by the way, packages are coming. I promise you, they are coming. But I'm going to give you a magazine. I will put it in an envelope. I will send it to you. It will be folded, so you will have to unfold it if that bothers you. I'm not going to send it in a page protector because that costs more money. So I will fold it. I will put it in an envelope. It is free. You don't have to pay for anything. Again, if you're outside of the country, don't worry about it. You can say that you want things, and if you win, I will send it to you. They are torn out of magazines, so these are magazines that I paid for from someone who's getting rid of them. I am, like, again, I'm not selling them, I'm giving them away, so I hope that doesn't bother you. If it bothers you, don't participate. That's the easy answer. If it bothers you, you don't have to participate. It's not a requirement. So, this first pattern comes from Cross Stitcher magazine from December 2010, and it is a group of fruits. Sorry, Mike. Can you see the whole thing? There you go. It's a group of fruits, and the designer is Maria Diaz, so there's 4 of these, and they are little individual pieces. I'm sure that you could stitch them all together if you wanted to. You could stitch them on pot holders or towels, or I don't know. They're not designed to be put on towels, but you can do whatever you want with them. But that is the first pattern. Again, from Cross Stitcher, December of 2010, designed by Maria Diaz. And if you want this, please leave me a comment, or in your comments down below, say, I would like to stitch the fruit. Yep, I'm stealing that from Michelle too. I don't know how I'm going to do the selection. I don't know if I'm going to do a comment search like she does, but I'm going to steal her format for telling me how you would like to, or telling me that you are interested in the pattern. Please don't say anything, by the way, standard disclaimer, please don't say that you are getting things given away. Just, again, say, I would like to stitch whatever. Please be over 18, because I'm going to need your address. And yeah. This is the second one. This is actually from a magazine called New Stitches. New Stitches by Mary Hickmott. So many of these designs, I think both of these designs are actually Mary Hickmott designs. This one is a collection of stitchwort, blue bonnets or bluebells, and I forget what the red flower is, but it's just a floral pattern, and I think, and there's glare on that, sorry. Let me turn this off again to get rid of the glare. There we go. Now you can't see the color, but you can see the pattern. But that is the pattern. Again, I will send it to you in an envelope. If you would want that, please say, I would like to stitch the flowers. And third, but not least, this is also by Mary Hickmott. From New Stitches. It says it's from issue 194, but the cover of the issue said 191, so I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, this is a violet biscornu. I love biscornus. I have stitched one. I have plans to stitch more. But yeah, violet biscornu. It has the instructions for how to do it. It has the pattern for how to stitch flowers. If you are interested in that, please say, I would like to stitch the biscornu. One more quick thing. If you are a fan of The Gift of Stitching, which was a virtual magazine, digital magazine, they are having a sale on their Etsy store. The store is closing down, so Gift of Stitching magazine is going away forever. She is selling all of the issues of the magazine on her Etsy shop for half price. There is a lot of great stuff in those. I meant to purchase the CD many years ago, or not years ago, but long ago, and never did it. The CD is now sold out, so you cannot get the CD that has all of the issues on it, unfortunately. You can, however, go and buy individual issues. There is a list somewhere of the most popular issues, and you can buy those, which have things like the chatelaine design. There are a couple chatelaine designs that were in there. There is a Nora Corbett somewhere, I think. There are samplers and all sorts of fun stuff. So take a look through them if you're interested in that kind of thing. I will link her shop in the information boxes down below. But yeah, The Gift of Stitching virtual magazine, it will be on sale until January 27th, and then she's pulling them down and offline forever. So if you want anything, go and take a look before they're gone, because there's, like I said, there's good stuff in there. And that's it. I am now quite literally at, and probably a little bit past after I put all the pictures in, an hour and a half. So I will say goodbye. I will say again, thank you for coming to watch me. Thank you for spending your time with me. Thank you for coming back. Please feel free to like and subscribe. If you're interested in doing that, please feel free to leave a comment, and I will respond to you as soon as I can, or as soon as I have something intelligent to say. And